In augmented coding, you can get pretty good results by saying, follow test-driven development. But you can get even better results by breaking test-driven development down into its component parts and creating a separate process for each one. Which phase of TDD are we in? And this is using a powerful technique from Lotta Kessler and Llewellyn-Falco called process files, telling the AI, follow these steps, and instead of me telling it what to do, it asks me what to do. Check it out. All right, we are ready. Mudshark is here. Hey, Mudshark. John Irving is here. Someone else is here. Looks like my count decided to start working. And hopefully other folks will join. And I'm here. I'm your host, John Reed. Been watching a fair amount of Game Changer lately, and so I can say I'm your host, John Reed. I've been here all the time. It's a great show. Game Changer. Welcome for folks who are watching after the fact. Hi, thanks for checking this out. Hope this is kind of fun. Subscribe if to get more stuff as it comes out. And right now in this season of my life, this is the only hour I get to code for me at the moment. It's not that work is crazy. It's that my house is overrun by a toddler. So a toddler is a lot. It's wonderful, but it's a lot. My book. Please, I invite you to follow me and connect with me on whatever socials you like to use. I'm active in all of these. And what are we doing? What did we do last time? Let's do a quick review. We now have a pretty robust script for building and testing, which used to be just build and test so that we can run it locally and so that we use the same thing in GitHub Actions, and that makes it easier to develop outside of GitHub Actions. But now it's all AI friendly or AI hostile. If you look at this, where it's like, hey, I found arrange act assert. Your commit is rejected. Hey, Eric. And then we built up using Llewellyn-Falco's trick to do Xcode build to temporary output and search it for interesting stuff and report that stuff. And if it fails, we also trim the failure. Llewellyn starts off just outputting the output that you got, but realized that we could actually trim it down even further and get rid of everything except for I think this was notes, anything like any issues that XeBeautify reports. And it's kind of a cheat because we're using XeBeautify. All this to save tokens. It's not just to save tokens. It's to save your context window. And there are various other solutions out there to people trying different things. I heard, got an email from Renee Peringer. Hey, Renee, if you're watching. Renee does a different approach. He goes out right to the Xe result. I've never looked into the Xe result files and parses those. So that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Renee. And there are other solutions out there. Let's see. Yeah, it's when you're working on a new idea, these are notes from last time. It's really helpful not just to go with the first thing, but to iterate on ideas, because they'll start coming. Yeah, we used XCBeautify, used a branch to test different ideas. I don't remember doing that, but we must have. Seeing big output was easier in the terminal, not in a small box in Windsurf. That's true. If you want to actually look inside the terminal output. And this is the big one that is out there, is that there are MCP interfaces now. Folks are putting out there to Xcode. And that would also be a great solution. The nice thing about Llewellyn's technique of write to temporary output and do stuff with it and then clean it up, but basically filter the temporary output, is that it works even if you don't have other tools. It's the poor man's MCP. Today, I really want to, this is sort of what I wanted to do this whole time, was to get back to TDD. Maybe we'll even get back to working on Mastermind. What are we working on? We are, I believe, looks like, okay, starting from the top, Mastermind, the puzzle game. We want to show multiple rounds. That means we want to draw empty guesses. John, slightly off topic, but is it worth to build and test on a pre-commit hook instead? Certainly, we use pre-commit hooks at work, and they're super important. What are you thinking, John? Say more about that. I think it's not really off topic. Because stuff like this, here's the thing with me and using this stuff at work. At work, you can put in pre-commit hooks and they apply to the entire team, right? And so there are certain things that have to happen. For example, Swift Lint has to be happy. That is something that we have. However, arrange, act, assert, like forbidding comments. There are so many comments in the code at work. And so this would not work as a pre-commit hook. I'll get back to your thought. I'm just going to finish my thought here. Because nobody else wants these handcuffs, but I do. So, John, it makes sense to commit with passing tests. With a pre-commit hook, you can validate without pushing. Well, sure. It's another tool. Again, it sort of depends on not so much team buy-in. The team, if there's a group making those decisions, the developers don't have a choice, right? But ideally, in a smaller team, you'd get buy-in. Makes sense to commit with passing tests. With a pre-commit hook, you can validate without pushing. There's something going on here, and I'm not entirely sure what, John. There's something noodling around in our heads. I'll show you some more stuff about, unrelated to pre-commit hooks, but it is related to how do I do this? How do I do certain things if the rest of my team isn't, and I don't want to impose this on them because that would be really rude. But a pre-commit hook, what else do we use pre-commit hooks for? We check like formatting. Yeah, here on this project, being trunk-based, if tests pass, we push. Let's see. Okay, so multiple rounds, draw empty guesses. We want to show 10 empty rounds. And there's some stuff we're doing here. Now we might have to figure that out. Let's get to the meat of stuff. Right now I have, it's a little easier if I show it to you probably in another form. And this doesn't have to be windsurf. It's in a folder called .windsurf. It doesn't have to be. No. Okay. So this, interesting. Don't need that. Yeah, the always on trigger, this is a windsurf specific thing, determines this. So it really, it's not part of that. Okay. No. Hang on. Get rid of it from, I'm going to clean it up inside of here. These are the rules that I have in place for like the ground rules. But this is just the start. We want to do test-driven development. And the way we've done this before is to, we tried, no. Sorry. There we go. Oh man, it always opens in the same size. These are the rules that Kent Beck came up with. Doesn't look like I can make them any bigger. Okay, sorry. Let me try here. There we go. And the interesting thing about this, about Kent's rules, which worked well for me, okay for me, but we can do better, is it basically assumes TDD knowledge. Follow the TDD cycle. And there's stuff out there, the LLMs kind of know TDD, but remember, LLMs were trained on what's out there, and most of the TDD that's out there is poor or faulty or incomplete or incorrect. So instead, I want to bring over some of these, which are from Llewellyn. Llewellyn broke things down into separate process files. Instead of just standing rules, do TDD. It's like, what phase of TDD are we doing? And let's create what he calls a process file. And this is amazing because it inverts the AI flow. Suddenly, let's just do it. Let's commit this before I get on any further. Just a minute. Okay. Remove redundant windsurf trigger. And push. Let me bring over all of these into our processes. And we'll take a look at, or we'll start using them and then I can show you what they are. Add process files for TDD. And now you have them because I pushed. Right, exactly, Mudshark. Do TDD and it'll do like all these big leaps. Instead, now that we have this, I can say, let's start a new chat. The agent is all my ground rules in agent.md, which seems to be a cross AI tool standard that's developed to say if we call it agent MD, those are the rules that apply always. Not rules exactly. It's just the thing that it reads. I can now say follow creating tests process. Let's see what it does. And then I'll show you what it is. So the very first thing that may be surprising is it's asking me questions because it's got this process. So let's say we're resuming. Which step would you like to continue from? Here are the steps. Ask if we're starting new work or resuming, okay. Ask if we're creating a new feature or fixing a bug. Ask for an example scenario. Suggest a list of test scenarios. Create the test file. Write the outer test functions. Validate the test list. These are the things, it's sort of like, this in particular, the list of the test list, this is canonical TDD that a lot of folks have been doing for years and years, but Kent recently said, this is canon. You come up with a list of tests. You don't write them all, but you better have an idea of what they are. At least a rough idea. And you can see it changed from the starter character, from the lucky four-leaf clover, to red. It's not exactly the red step because it's not writing a test yet, but it's setting things up to write tests. Let's figure out what we want to do. And to do that, I'm going to have to figure out where we are. Unify round as one based, avoid round index. Oh, shoot. Did we already do all this work? We might have to jump into the refactoring phase. I think we already did a fair amount of this, it looks like. And I just simply don't remember. What is this round index? Mm-hmm. Where was that stuff? Let's see if we can find in the game. Oh, it's been so long. I hardly remember what any of this code is or what it does. I'd forgotten that we created a round number, for example. Let's run it. What does it look like right now? So it does the one round successfully, and we're in the middle of refactoring. I don't remember. And maybe we should just blaze on and we'll come back and find stuff to clean up as we go. I'm not sure. Unless any of you remember what show round 1 at the bottom. We can do that. Not sure what this is. So let's make this a note. Whoops. And let's work on this. That's a feature. Right now, round 1 is at the top. We want round 1 to be at the bottom because that's how it works in the physical game. To get closer and closer to the secret key, which will eventually display at the top. All right, let's see. Ask if we are creating a new feature. Well, yeah. Let's go here and let's see. New feature. What's an example scenario for this? Let's find out. Where is this? Let's come over here. It's not game I want. It's the game screen. I'm looking in the wrong place. Here we go. Here are the rounds, and we want this to be reversed. It's the unified task meant to use one-based indexing, to always use round numbers. I think you're right. But I don't remember where that is. Like here's round view, round number. We'll find it as we go, right? So let's say in game screen, the round are shown let's see. Oh, I forget. I need to do this, or I can do this. The rounds are shown top to bottom with round 1 at the top. We want to flip this so that round 1 is at the bottom and round 10 is at the top. All right, I see the example scenario. You want to flip the order. Let me suggest a list of test scenarios to cover this feature, which is probably excessive. It probably just needs one test. Test that round view displays in reverse order, round 10 at top. That's good. All rounds are still displayed. Not necessary. Reverse order works with different numbers of rounds. Probably not necessary. Test that round numbers are correctly associated with their views in the new order. Also probably not necessary. But you see what it's doing. It's asking me, and I'm like, no, let's do these. Let's just do. Let's do one only. Hey, Tooks. Welcome. This is okay, so now it's saying I want to create the test file. And that's sort of because that's the process that this is following. And I can say we can just use the existing file How does this work? Game screen tests. Oh, JavaScript. Yeah, it's funny how little Swift or iOS I see out there in Twitch. When I go looking, there's usually nobody. Okay, it's made a change. What's it done? Let's have a look. It has added a function commented out. And displays 3 rounds, displays rounds in reverse order. Now, I still don't know if we can do this, but let's follow down and see if we can get it to work. You know, I think for the other thing, getting these to show in the correct order, I think I just punted and said, "Oh well." But let's follow it and see. So, we accept this. Does this test look good to you for covering the feature? It does. Right, there's nothing in it, but it's just like creating the list. And here's a cheat that Llewellyn teaches or shows. You don't have to say yes. You can be super lazy and just type Y. Okay. We've completed the TDD process for creating tests. So not exactly, but kind of. We're starting to. Now let's start building this up. And here's the cool trick. We're done with this context. We want our context windows to be short so that they are as smart as can be. And that means starting new conversations a lot. And you can do that because we've externalized information. We have done this, we've put this into our code, so that's external. If I were starting this project from 0, we would have a markdown file showing like what are the things we're going to work on, and that would be external, so that anytime we start a new chat, which is a new context window, we can just refer to stuff and have it be in the repo, or in my case at work, outside of the repo, because I don't want to bother other people with it. So I keep such files external. But here, let's say we now want to follow implement production. All right, and you see it's picked up another starter character. I understand the TDD implementation process. I can see from your file that you have game screen tests. Is this the test file you'd like me to work? Yes, it is. All right, and I can see the test file. I notice there's one commented out test. Let me uncomment this test and then run the test to see what needs to be implemented. All tests are currently passing, including the test. I need to implement the actual test logic. Will it know anything about how to do this? I don't know. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It wants to fail. I mean, it should fail. Stop. What is it even trying to do? Let's find out. It's trying to find the indices, and I don't know if you can do such a thing. Find all. Like, is it making stuff up right now? I'm not sure. This is really goofy looking. But let's accept it so we can see it a little clearly. A little more clearly. Okay. Now it's basing this on earlier stuff about rounds. Displays 2 rounds. Right. It looks funny, but these are actually assertions to find a view. That is, can it find view round 1? Yes or no? It's trying to do, weird stuff. Find first index where? I don't know if any of these even make sense. And what did it do? It looks like the test failed, which it should. Let me run this outside because I really can't see it entirely. Oh wait, has it already changed game screen? Well, that's an interesting way to do it. Okay, that wasn't what I expected. It's iterating over the rounds and rendering, doing calculations to render, to determine which round it's showing. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. So I thought we had a thing to show the choices. Is it the code? It's the code choices view. Yeah. It's doing a simpler thing of going last to first. But you know what? Will this work? Will what it's done work? Let's find out. It's not a great test. Exactly. If it passes, it's great. I keep forgetting that the console window in Windsurf is not the window for the latest command. It's like a standing console window. Oh. Slow down. Ah. I see the other issues. Reverse order, broke another test. Need to check how accessibility identifiers are set. And it crashes. Okay, this is where I stop it and say, look at how verse see how it does it. Uses a private extension with the last to first computed property? It does? I don't remember this. Game screen. Oh, so it does. Huh. I don't remember that. That's what it's there for. Cool. Well, now what's it doing? It's gone. It seems. Oh, it's still crashing. Finding 7 H stacks instead of 3, which means it's my. It's run off the rails. And again, I don't think I had a test for this on the code choice view. I think we just shrugged and said, that's the way it is. How about if we try again? That was our trick last time. Stop. Stop. Let's reset and try again. Follow the process and we should have commented out tests in here. Where was it? Oh no, the test wasn't committed. Ah, that's an interesting thing I should change in the process, is that when it makes the test list, we ought to commit that. So that's my mistake. Let's change the process file and you'll get to see the process file. Here's what it looks like. Creating tests. Always ask the user one question at a time. This is the beauty of the thing, that it asks me instead of me telling it. Validate the test list with the user. I think we should add commit. Let's see if we can't get this back from the previous chat here. And right now, I don't want to lose this, so let's commit this. Something that Llewellyn shows is that a process file, even a rule file, doesn't just sort of, you don't get it right the first time. You have to iterate on it. And it's frustrating to, like, when you know how things are supposed to go, you could just do it, but then it won't, your process, your files for and instructions to AI won't improve. So his technique is to say, okay, we've learned something, reset, make a change in the file, and try again and see how it goes. It's iterative, just like everything else we do. Add commit step to TDD1. Specifically, so we don't lose the test list. All right, let's try again. New chat. Follow this process. Resume. Feature. And what did we say? The currently shows each round with round 1 at the top and round 10 at the bottom. We want to invert this so round 10 is at the top and round 1 is at the bottom. Look at how we did this for code guess view. So this is also a bit of learning to say, let's try again, but what we learned, it's still stupid. One only. And this is correct. All right. We can see a little more this time. It did more than just write a test name. Does this test list look good to you? Yeah, it's good enough for now. And now it did a commit, but how? I think it did its own commit, and I think I would like to change that. Because we want to commit and push. And it didn't use Arlo's notation. Okay, how do we do this stuff? First, let's undo. Everything is still there. right? There it is. Yeah, let's try again. The commit stage. There's another thing that I've used is I use at work is a commit script, and I got this idea from Llewellyn. Because we can be in a bit more control of things. At work, this was important because of the pre-commit hooks. I wanted to actually it's more output, and I wanted to filter that again to keep the context window as much in control as possible. So why don't we bring this along? Add this to here. Whoops. And let's change it so that it does. At work, I also made sure that it doesn't add everything. It only adds in the folder that I'm care about, because sometimes stuff changes outside. Let's not push yet. Let's get this right. But this is a step I do want to do. And let's say follow. Because this is actually part of the project now, or has been actually, we can refer to it, I think. Let's try it. Maybe I should use this in the standing rules. It's a little hard to see in here. Make sure this is in Mastermind. Okay. Project specifics. Committing. Follow. Windsurf rules. Let's see if this works. For the commit message, follow this. To make the commit, run scripts. Let's see how this goes. And since I made this change out in agent, I don't trust it to pick it up. I'm going to start a new chat and say, will it know how to do this? Let's be very specific. Let's see what it does. Oh, it read the rules. It's doing a git add. Oh, do. Okay, it looks like it came up with a bunch of things. Based on the changes I can see, added commit instructions to agent, created commit sh, added comment test placeholder, 28 lines of, oh, and it's not reviewing. It needs to review it with me. Like, I do not want it to just come up with a message and push it. I want to be in control. So, back to this. How to say this? Draft a commit message following the ask me to approve the commit message. Once I approve, let's try that. Again, I'm going to undo. Let's see how this goes. Try a new script. This time it came up with a different thing, but now it's asking me, add commit process instructions. I don't want to separate this. And oddly, yeah, it is an E, not a doc. It's not documentation. But to move forward, and for the sake of time, which is running out, my quarter is about up. Let's say this is primarily a test change along with process improvements. Create a different message. It's not low risk. I mean, it's not a validated thing. Added placeholders with commit process improvements. Okay, so it's low risk. There we go. Now what's it going to do? Now it runs the commit script. Except it didn't. Ah, windsurf. Okay. Almost there, almost there. Cool. And let's also change the commit script itself. Eh. Okay. I keep opening a new chat here, and this is where I understand I haven't had a chance to use Claude yet. Right? Claude, you can have multiple right? It's terminal based, so you can have like one window, one terminal that is one agent. And something that Lotta Kessler teaches is to have a thing that's like it has one job. I've got one job on this ship, and that's to commit. And so it doesn't use up context trying to do all this other stuff. It's just like, I'm just going to commit stuff, and I'm going to be really good at it. And so you can really focus it. Okay, let's make this last change, and we'll continue another time. Again, I don't... Let's just say commit changes. I've been changing it out in the agent, so it should reread the agent. First it checks. All right. This is not a documentation thing. This is an environment change, not a documentation change. There we go. Say yes. This time it should get out there and push. And look at that. It has done so. Okay. So it's a little painful. Let's wrap up. It's a little bit painful, but this is the work of improving your process. Let's recap. And if you've got stuff that you observed, put it in the chat right now. Let's capture it. Number one is process files. It sort of inverts the thing. I need to do this, or I can do this. Process files. Give it a list and have it prompt you. Nice. Instead of saying do TDD, break TDD into separate processes. I think that is a really important thing, really useful. To refine your process, tweak it and try again. Try and anything else? And all this is up on GitHub now, right? Folks can look at this, can look at the files that are out there, study them, use them, grab them. Llewellyn shared them. I'm now sharing them on. I've made tweaks to what I got from Llewellyn. You'll make tweaks to what I'm giving you, right? Because we're using different tools. Our contexts are different. But let me just say, all files are on GitHub. Now in the repo. Have fun. The repo, how do I send? I forget. Oh, yes. Thank you, Eric. This is canonical TDD. List tests in advance. And granted, we only chose the one. I think this will become much more fun. Gosh, you know what I really want to do? We've talked before about starting the mastermind project over again, except not doing it from the UI in, but instead building the model out and then hooking a UI onto it. Wouldn't it be cool to start with like doing all this AI stuff? That would be neat. Not now, though. Keep going, John. All right. I think that's a wrap. Thanks for joining, everyone. Really, I hope this will prove to be useful to you. And it really doesn't matter. None of this is Windsurf specific. Okay? That's one thing. You can just drag files in. Because at work, I can't like put these files into the repo for everyone else and they go, what the hell is this stuff? Or I don't want to follow this. I have like a separate folder and I drag stuff over and say, follow this, follow that, and it works. So, hey, Grant, for folks who have watched after the fact, thank you for your patience in like just only watching when everyone else gets to chat. Do give this a like and a follow or a whatever. A comment, especially if you have any questions or ideas about other stuff we could do, other ways to improve working with AI. And I will see you then next week. Let me find the right button here and we're good to go. Now I go back to Family Chaos and then I'll get to code again a week from now. Take care, everyone.